So this is my video essay. Yeah, I'm in the woods. Um, totally not the woods that have a psychopathic killer in them, but we're not going to talk about that. So yeah, murder. Um, so my thing is over what you would define a hero as. So yeah, let's begin. What do you define as a hero? Would it be saving someone from a burning building, or coming up with a cure for a terrible disease, or even someone who donates part of their paycheck to charity? Like comic books, heroes can be anyone. Even the most normal people can become extraordinary through circumstances. Now, this is where the two differ slightly, as one may become a hero through getting struck by lightning in a comic book, but in real life, people can become heroes through their actions and choices, uh, most of the time in situations that call for it. So, like a high pressure situation, or something like the red bandana dude in the Twin Towers on 9/11. Is basically what that means. Um, this is also true for comic books. However, I would argue the concept of a hero is not as black and white as in comic books. As some would say that people becoming heroes in the eyes of people are based on what we find heroic. And by that I mean that if you are with Greenpeace, you might say that somebody that saves a forest from being cut down is heroic. Most generally say that being a hero is when somebody goes above and beyond either what is asked of them in a situation, or by the choices they make that go above and beyond what is expected. Which is another good point, as many would often say that soldiers are heroes as they defend our country. However, some would argue that they are in the military, because they are in the military, that is they are expected to defend our country and are not necessarily heroic at all. So what does this come down to? Public opinion always shifts, and what seems heroic one minute may be looked down upon the next moment. So, for example, like in the Civil War, people that were fighting for the South could be an example of what people thought, at least down in the South, was heroic back then. May not be, well, isn't considered heroic now. I'd say may not be. In comics, there is generally a clear definition of bad and good, but in the chaos and confusion of life in our world, those lines become really blurred. Cue Robin Thicke. Blurred lines. The ethics of a person can be called into question over a singular action, and people become defined by the things they do rather than their character, which, in my opinion, is what truly makes a hero. It is not the choices one makes, because choices can be influenced or manipulated, as shown through many forms of media throughout the history of our world. People being manipulated into doing stuff and then not realizing how far over their head they're in. Star Wars, for one example. It is not the choices. Yep. But your character stays true to you. Choices can cast people as heroes or villains in real life, and the line between the two is very fine. Villains may think of themselves as heroes, and vice versa. Somebody like this would be Valentine from the Kingsman movie, where he thinks of himself as a sort of hero or a savior, which can be true for many media outlets. Time periods may also be a factor, as in the 1980s, the world was in love with larger-than-life superheroes such as real-life Hulk Hogan or the Ultimate Warrior, cue the wrestling. But in the 1990s, that changed as the anti-hero, or at least the concept of the anti-hero, became more popular. Characters like Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, the NWO, all bore semblance to the radical decade, in which people's heroes took a different personality, or I don't know if you could say different characteristics, but I don't really know. They were anti-authority badasses, pardon the French, who people could relate to. Gone were the days of the squeaky clean heroes who children idolized. And in the ever-evolving landscape of pop culture and social standards, the heroic traits have to evolve with them. Traits often associated with heroes are willingness to put others before themselves, selflessness, and willingness to go above and beyond what is expected of them. Having a good moral compass doesn't always make you a hero. the Kingsman movie, for example, which is what I brought up earlier. The main antagonist, Valentine, wants to solve what many consider to be a legit issue, that being climate change, but it's how he goes about it that actually makes him a hero, and who he chooses to save. The solution he basically came up with was genocide, killing humans, basically humans killing humans. So it's a whole long story. Until we were nearly extinct, that makes him a villain. Um, and I think that's what makes a good villain in general, is the fact that they desire a better world by solving a problem or making a change, but it's how they go about doing that, making that change, or at least planning to make that change or solve that problem, is what makes them a villain. And likewise, heroes can have the least redeeming qualities about their character, but they will still end up a hero because of what they do to stop the villain, the sacrifices they make, and maybe the growth they experience along the way. Which raises the bigger question: to be heroic, must one make sacrifices for you to be truly considered a hero? For example, Lightning McQueen in the first Cars and the third, both times giving up things he deeply cared about and showing growth at the end of the movie from where he started at the beginning, especially in the first one, giving up really the opportunity to go to California after he gets done paving the road, and chooses to stick there for like another day or so. So yeah, that shows growth as well on his part. I think that we all interpret what makes us a hero differently based on our beliefs and views. So what do you think makes a hero?